Namaskar and welcome to Indian Diplomacy, show on India's national broadcaster Doordarshan about Indian foreign policy, India's international relations and India's engagement with important countries, institutions, communities and people around the world. Viewers, this is a special episode where we are talking about the phenomenon of educational diplomacy and the phenomenon of students from around the world coming to live in India and to learn from Indian institutions. And to talk about this, I have a very special audience with me, drawn from 10 countries around the world, who are here in India studying at the O.P. Jindal Global University. And they are learning a variety of courses here and also experiencing India. So we're going to be talking about their time here, what they are all picking up and learning from this country, and how this is benefiting foreign students, and whether India can be a big destination to attract international students going forward. Folks, welcome to Indian Diplomacy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. So you are all here and you chose to be here. So I want to start with, the basic choice of wanting to come and study in India. Now you had probably other choices to go to for a semester exchange or for a full-time degree as part of your, study. But then why did you think about coming to India instead of somewhere else? And what is it about wanting to be in this country that motivated you or inspired you? So I would like to open up the discussion by asking if anyone could come forward and talk about the fundamental choice of picking India rather than any other country. Anyone would like to come in? Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Gala. I'm from Russia. St. Petersburg State University. So I've traveled around like 30 countries.
Wow.
And when I was thinking about travel to India, I was always have that feeling that it should be some special reason for that. And when I was in my university and I look at the list of the countries and I saw India there, I was thinking this is the right time for it. And also, I want to go to India because I'm a vegetarian for 20 years.
Wow.
And I'm doing a Buddhist practice and yoga practice also. So I wanted to come to the country where is it all from. So, and like learn it from the very specialists and masters from all of it.
Wow. And with Russia, we've had a long special connection. So did you grow up hearing about India and learning about India?
Yeah, I grew up drinking Indian tea all the time. I remember it was a packet with Indian elephant.
Okay.
And also we watched Indian movie like all the time. Once it was like very, very popular. I remember Zita and Gita and Disco Dancer.
Yes. Classic movies, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we have the like some special feeling and knowledge about the India.
And what were the other countries you thought about going instead of, what was the choice?
It was Korea because, I'm like, I love Asia. Like, I'm crazy about Asia. So I was choosing from China, India and Korea. Yeah. But I choose India.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Our friend from Russia, viewers, is talking about the special connection we've always had with that country, but also combination of intellectual and cultural reasons why she chose to come to India. Anyone else would like to come in on the decision to want to come and study in India? Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Emilia. I'm from Mexico City. And for me, India was always a place that I've always wanted to visit. And my opportunity came with my studies in my university, but I was the first one to come here. So I didn't really know what to expect. Of course, all of my knowledge from India had come from books, from movies, and from certain stories of people, most of them who had been here for a very short period. So I didn't really know what to expect. And being here has just been amazing. It has been such a vibrant cultural experience. So many cultures coexisting in one same space that I feel like there's something to learn in every corner of the city. For me, it has been also amazing to look at the difference in scenery in life between the mountains. I'd be excited to go to the coastal area as well. Where we study, it different from Delhi. And yeah, I'm very excited about this experience.
Amazing. Latin America is far away, but I'm so glad you made this choice. Was language a barrier? Because sometimes we hear that students from that part of the world, because of the Spanish majority, find it difficult to accommodate in an English-speaking environment like the premier Indian universities. Was that an issue?
I feel like it could be taken as an issue, but maybe English is a barrier that we can confront, and it opens our doors to so many opportunities. So I feel like it has been really good. Also, I've tried to learn a little bit of the languages here. I'm still trying, but I feel like there's a lot to know. So of course I wanted to come here, even if English is not my main language. It's an opportunity and I'm happy to take it.
Super, super, super. Thank you so much. Friends, we have a student from Mexico who's come from thousands of miles away and is still feeling at home in this country. So that speaks for itself. And just see the excitement and the enthusiasm of these foreign students. It shows that India can actually provide a welcome that they deserve. Okay, we spoke about the choice to come to India, but let me take it a little forward now about what all you've seen so far here, what you've experienced, and has it in any way made you rethink your assumptions about India? Because, you know, before you came, perhaps, if this was the first time you're coming to India, maybe you had some notions or ideas from what you've read or seen from books and popular culture and movies and all these things. But once you're here and you're experiencing it, is there something that you adjusted your lens since being here and the experience of being here? And would you like to share anything that may have surprised you or been maybe like an eye-opener for you, because maybe you didn't think India was like this, but it turned out to be this way? Yes, please.
So hi, I'm Will. I'm from Australia. And to be honest, before I chose to come to India, I didn't really know much about it. And I feel like that's a very common, I guess, notion in Australia, where I'm from, in Sydney at least. Even though there is a huge Indian population, I guess a lot of the focus is on Europe and the US. And I guess I've always had a bit of a passion for Asia. And yeah, even though I didn't really know anything about India before coming, I am very interested in security and India's importance to Australia's security in particular is really important. I think something that's really overlooked. In terms of some ideas that I guess changed upon arriving, I think a big one, as Amelia touched on, was like, I guess the diversity within a state and within a nation, which I guess coming from Australia, it's a very homogenous state and with homogenous ideas, even though it's massive. If you go from Perth on the west coast to Australia to Sydney on the east coast, it's still very similar in a sense. Whereas if you go from Kashmir to Kerala or to West Bengal, completely different ideas. So I found that really interesting, and I guess some of the diversity in obviously culture, but also religion. Something that really changed upon arriving in India. I also think the idea of like a civilizational state is something that I wasn't really sure about prior to coming to India. And it's something that I guess I've struggled to get my head around a little bit. But it's super interesting, again, comparing to my own context back in Australia, the idea of this like civilizational state, same as China in a sense, that's been sort of together in one sense or another for thousands of years. I feel like those are two of the big changes that I've noticed.
Thank you so much. Thank you. A friend from Australia viewers is talking about diversity being an eye-opener. India's diversity, as you know, is incredible, and we take pride in having unity in diversity. But what is also interesting is he's talking about how some constructs or ideas like civilizational state, which exist on paper or in abstract, he's able to experience it while being here. So seeing is believing, right? And so I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that they're able to see the tradition and modernity of India. And am I right? And that probably makes you think that there's something deeper here going back millennia and which defines us as a people and as an identity or as a nation state. Very interesting views. Any other comments on your rediscovery of India after coming here, as opposed to what you had read or thought about it before coming here?
Hi, Lilou from France. I have to agree with Will on this one. I'm from France, he's from Australia, but I think we tend to have a focus that is way too much on Western countries. And the shift is never really on Asia, in my opinion. And all that I've learned in school was way too much focused on France and the US and the Western alliances. And I'm just so glad that I got to get out of my comfort zone and actually come to India. And it's such a vibrant country and so many cultures and so many things to see. And I think it's so important to actually come here to see, because it's so different from what you could think or what you read about. So I recommend to everyone to come and see it from their own eyes.
Thank you. Same question that I asked our Mexican friend. Was language a barrier, being French, to come and study in an English speaking environment?
Not really. I think English is the only thing that we can all have in common to understand each other. Even for you, like, your country is super big and so many cultures, so you have to find something to communicate with everyone. As a French speaker, I learned English, she learned English, and everyone has to learn English nowadays. So that's just how it is, and it's always a good experience to learn languages.
Thank you. President Macron speaks impeccable English, by the way, and of course his natural preference is French, but I've seen him many times in international gatherings speaking English and all that. But France is again a very special country for us. We have a very powerful strategic partnership with France, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that also going forward in the show, about the relations between the countries these students represent and India. But moving forward, I want to trigger a few more thoughts from this special audience as to how India is perceived back home in your countries. We already spoke about what you thought and what you are seeing in India, but what is the general impression or understanding of India in your respective countries, in your circles, among your friends, in society in general? Is it appearing on the radar? Many of you are saying, there's too much of a West-centric understanding of the world, and you're all trying to shed that, and Asia is important, India is important because rising very fast within Asia. But is this consciousness deeper than academia and intellectual circles and students? Does it go at the broader level in your society, or is it not so? And are people still maybe stuck in old stereotypes about India? The classic one is that, it's a land of bullock carts and snake charmers, right? And that, it's forever mired in poverty and in tradition, right? But you're seeing so many different facets of India here, right? So I'd like, if anyone would like to come in and talk about how India is perceived in your countries back home, what is the general idea they have, and are they updated or are they stuck in some time warp? That's something will be of interest to our audiences. Yes, please.
So my name is Elio. I'm from France, and when I said to my friends I was going to India, they were all like, "Oh my God, is it safe?" Because I feel like they don't really know it, as I didn't know about much, but I wanted to do it because, as my friend said, they said it's a different culture we don't know about, and I think we have to be a little brave to go in India, like coming with our stereotypes and so on. But I don't want to be mean, but it's like we don't know about, so it seems to be a place with some things we don't know about, and it's scary actually. But when you come, you see it's not really the case. Well, there are some things, stereotypes that are true, like in every country it's true, but I feel like it's not really dangerous or some kind of scary as we thought, and people are just thinking this in my country.
Right. Yeah, thank you. Viewers, the perception that India is a difficult place, especially for people from the Western world, has been there for a long time. But you see now that with experience and with actually being here, our friend from France is talking about how it is not so, and how India is a lot more welcoming than is generally perceived in these stereotypes. Anyone else wants to come in about how India is seen in your countries? Yes, please.
Hello, so my name is Ondine. I'm also from France. And I just wanted to add a point from what he said, is that I really noticed that it's only people that have never been to India that have very, very bad prejudices. And there is this thing, like people, people that have experienced India would never say bad things about it. And as they have never experienced it and lived it, they have like very strong and extreme prejudices that are just not true. If you are open-minded, and it was I also felt like it was kind of hard not to listen too much to what people would tell me, because the people that have been here would tell me to go and some would not. But so yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of hard to make a choice when you are really influenced by what people tell you, but then you find out that's like the experience here is amazing. So that's the
Thank you so much. I feel good hearing that, because image and reputation of a country is made by experiences of foreigners who actually come and see the place, and that's what we are seeing here. And prejudice, our friend from France is using the word prejudice. That's something that needs to be overcome for more foreign students or even tourists to come to India, and that's certainly something we are all committed to working on. Okay, so far we have spoken about India and impressions of India, viewers, from this select audience of 22 foreign students from 10 countries. But I want to now take them to the domain of friendship, because friendship is the basis on which relations are built between countries, between people, and between societies. And these students have been here in India and are studying here for several months and are making friends here. So I want to take, and for young people, nothing excites them more than friendship. So I want to take them there and ask them, what is the experience of engaging with young Indians like for you? You have classmates, you have other friends who you have made while you are here, and you're probably learning a lot from them, but it must be also a lot of fun to just, exchange notes with people of your same age, roughly the same age, and the same levels of education, but who are from a different society. And many of you have already been speaking about the importance of engaging with the non-Western societies. So tell us a little bit about Indian friends, okay? And the best things that you find about Indian friends, and what is it about them that you like? This is something I'm sure will be of interest to our audience. Anyone would like to come in about the friends you've made here? Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Jade from France, and I feel like people here in India are very welcoming with us because they want us to spend the best time here and to discover the country as they would like us to discover it, and to catch every details and every cultural things that we don't know and we want to learn and discover. And especially students, they are very nice with us and want us to take part in the students family, and to spend a good time and enjoy our semester here in India.
Multicultural settings, is it an adjustment, or there is of course a global ethos among a lot of young people in India, but do you also find cultural differences, behavioral differences? Did you have to adjust in any way?
No, I feel like we share some common points, also differences, but in every relationship and friendship. So I don't feel any strong differences because of cultural things or others. Yes, we are just like students enjoying together, and yes, that's it.
Super. Thank you so much. Our friend from France is saying actually that, the identity of being students brings everyone together. And every student who is watching this show will, agree with this statement, because end of the day, there's a common identity that you're all learning in the same space and you have shared interests, and that is also generates the friendship. Any other thoughts about Indian friends?
Hi, so I'm Briggs from Germany, and I'm happy to say that I've experienced Indian hospitality and made some friends. And I think what excites me the most is like the balance between like experiences and things we share, like for example, taste in music, which is sometimes very similar, but also like getting to know more about the culture here and about the people, which kind of make up the culture. And I think the most exciting part for me was also like, it's nice to meet people on campus, but to go outside campus and see them in their like real world kind of area, and then like kind of learn from them, because sometimes I feel challenged by things which seem small here in India, like getting a tuk-tuk ride. And then I see friends who grew up here and they just, everything seems to be so easy for them. And I think that's really exciting. And I'm hoping to learn at least a little bit of that.
You should learn how to drive one.
Oh.
Not just sit in
I'm
one.
not sure if I'm suited for that.
Thank you. Our friend from Germany is talking about, small things, practical things that, for a foreign visitor, for them to feel at home, they'll need Indian friends to show them around, right? And to get them to understand the nitty-gritty. So, yeah, so there are practical benefits to have Indian friends while you're in India, right? And there's just no doubt about it. Okay, great. Now, I'll switch to education, because these students are all learning at a premier private university in India. So I want to take them to the point about what's happening in the classroom and what all they are learning, and the pedagogy, the methods of learning and teaching that you've encountered here. Are they significantly different from what happens in your home universities, in your home countries, or is it roughly similar or comparable? How would you look at similarities or differences about learning in an Indian university as opposed to learning abroad in your home countries? Anything in the methods, in the techniques, in the substance of what is being taught, and the classroom engagement? Can we get some voices in about, just compare the two things, where you have studied in the past and what you are learning here, and tell us how it varies or how it's similar. Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Simon from Germany, and I just find it so fascinating how studying law is different in India, because in Germany you would usually have about 800 people in year one in the lecture hall.
In a big amphitheater.
Yes. It's not like a classroom at all. And you have the lecture, and then you have like a study group where you work on imaginary case studies. And in India, you would sort of have both in one. So discuss with your actual professor about how to apply law. And I feel like this is such a profound expertise to be able to use in a way. And also the interaction, the class participation, it's just completely different. In Germany, you wouldn't attend the lecture. On the first day, 800 people. On week 3, maybe like 50. And you said it in like amphitheater. So yeah, it's more closer to school than it is what I'm used to, but I really love it. I love to engage and use the oral aspect in understanding, discussing legal matters. And yeah, it's really quite fascinating, and I will not be able to experience this in any similar way in my German studies. So that's. And
the interactive learning helps you at what level? I mean, does it make you rethink some concepts and ideas? And how does the discussion in the classroom here that you miss back home in Germany, how does that help you learn better,
No, first of all, I lose my concentration. I lose track of class when nobody is reassuring, are you still with me? Asking a question. I'm used to 90 minutes lectures without any different voice than the one of the professor. And that's okay. Come on, like keep track of class, keep thinking, keep being active. And with this, automatically the understanding, the thinking process is initiated. So it doesn't really need much more than that. I think that's quite
great.
Useful.
Thank you. Thank you. Our friend from Germany, viewers, is saying that what he has experienced here in India is more interactive and more engaging and more lively, the classes. And I'm happy to hear that. Any other experiences about classroom learning and teaching and professors here compared to back home? Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Melina from Germany as well. And yeah, for example, my environmental course that I'm taking here, it surprised me very positively because I'm learning such on a problem-based practical method. So because we're like taking like the environmental assessment monitoring, but really essential problems like air quality and water quality on the base that like that's available to like the broad population as well. Because like we do like with toolkits, and I feel like that's very just down to earth, just like, okay, how can we actually like fix those problems who are like super important for us, but also to all life around us. So yeah, that surprised me very positively, I would say.
Yeah, and coming from a developed country context to developing country, environmental issues, do you see a different approach with the kind of teaching and the understanding of the class as opposed to from the vantage point of global north, the fact that you're in a global south country, we talk about climate justice and we talk about equity and these issues much more than just cutting carbon emissions, right? So has that opened any, new vistas in your mind?
Yeah, it did actually. Yeah, I feel like here we talk more about, okay, like, I feel like back in Germany where I studied, I feel like it's all like very abstract what we talk about, and we just talk a lot, I feel like, but there's not a lot of action actually going on. And I feel like that's here the change. Here we actually talk about actions, things that could be changed and things that could be done. For example, there's like a waste cafe in Ambaka where people collect trash and get in return a free meal. So that's also like those kind of problems, I feel like. Or those kind of projects that are like implemented here, I just feel like, yeah, they're just way more solution oriented between the research and the implementation gap. So.
Great. So innovation for solutions. Thank you so much. Our friend from Germany is saying that there is a difference in the way environmental issues are handled in the classrooms here in India, because we come from a different, economic and social background, and therefore naturally that's something and she's also talking about the action oriented small projects that can help mitigate the worst effects of climate change. This is of course a global concern. Everybody is working or trying to work towards these causes, but India is of course a big laboratory because 1.5 billion people, and if we are able to find greener solutions, then I think 1/3 or 1/4 of the world's problems are sorted, right? So just by acting at home, we are helping the world, on environmental issues. I know that some of you are also doing courses on law and justice and other related aspects. So would anyone want to also reflect on the way it's being taught here in Indian universities as opposed to back home? And can you see commonalities or differences, and in the focus and in the emphasis, maybe even in the ideology with which we are approaching these topics or subjects? Yes, please.
Hello, I'm Paloma from France. And so I would say I have many classes about, so I'm studying political sciences, and I have many classes about so caste and democracy or women in conflict zone. And I would say that studying those subjects in India with it's more about more accurate, because in France we would study it as something far away, like inequalities and big words, and more theoretical. And here we can we can better understand it from its like roots. And for instance, I have an Afghan teacher, and so it would be more about transmitting her knowledges, and you will more get it than by studying it in a French class, where it's and it also, as we talked about, Western eye and Western eye insight, which made it not very understandable and accurate and spontaneous. Whereas here, I would like to learn, because I feel like it's more about real issues. And
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. Our friend from France is talking about the fact that problems may be abstract and far away when you're learning it from a developed country, but if you're here on the ground, the grassroots, as she's saying, you actually know that problems exist around you, and therefore India is a great center for learning from that point of view. Both existence of a lot of problems, we don't deny we have a lot of problems, but also innovative ideas and solutions. So on both counts, it seems like it's more practical and more real. The experience of being in India is more real than learning about this purely through textbooks and from the vantage point of richer countries. So points well taken. Some of you are also doing courses on economics and business, right? And you're studying about trade and investment issues and the business environment in India. And, this is one of the reasons why the world has, as you know, taken India more seriously in the last 10, 15 years. You find a much greater interest because it's growing so fast, right? Average 6 to 7% GDP growth per annum. It's the fastest growing major economy in the G20 group. So I'd like some of you to come in and reflect on what you've learned here in business studies and in economics and on economic matters, and what is your impression of the dynamism of the Indian economy, and how can we foster closer links between your country, your businesses in your country and our country, and how can we expand the trade and investment relations? This is, of course, apart from people to people exchanges like you and government to government dealings and military to military, the business to business is very important, right? And getting that right. Most of the time, 90% of the job of foreign relations is done by if you have strong commercial relations. So anyone wants to come in and talk about economics and business, Indian economy, what you are seeing and witnessing, and what you'd like to happen between your country and India? Yes, please.
Hello, I'm Rocco from Italy, University of Bologna. And yes, about the economics, you're perfectly right. India is a giant which is becoming bigger every second, every day, every year. It's impossible to ignore it. And I think the growth trajectory of India must be analyzed, studied, and interpreted by other countries. It is exemplary. And I think the main point that we have to understand is the attention that the government has given to Indian economy, and also patriotic and realistic view about the true potential of India, which started from the independence with the 5-year plans all the way to the opening of the Indian market to the world in the 90s. And nowadays, with the new challenges that India is facing as it is arriving to the state of a developed country, and it is facing the problems that other countries like in Europe and the US are facing nowadays. And I think India has a great potential, and the attention that has been given by the government in nurturing the flame of the Indian economy will be the main point which will make India become a great power throughout the world, which it already is. And also, I feel like it will be central for for countries like Europe, which are reaching a saturation point, to invest in mutual relationship, both political but mainly economic, with Asia and in particular the Indian subcontinent, which is really where we could say the money is at these days.
Thank you. Our friend from Italy, viewers, is saying that this is where the money is, this is where the large middle class is, We have 500-600 million or more middle class, and it's continuing to grow. And this is where the opportunity is for European businesses. In fact, as you know, European Union are negotiating with a time deadline the free trade agreement, and that's going to be, it's long pending. It has been delayed, but we are now closing the gaps and reaching a point where we can say that it is likely to happen soon. EU-India FTA is going to be a game changer, and that's something we are looking forward to very much. It will help us also to diversify our trade partnerships, especially in light of the trade wars with the US and all this. Other markets are becoming more important. So points well taken. Any other thoughts on business and the economy? Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Jacob from Sweden, studying at Linköping University. One thing that is that you see very clearly in India is an entrepreneurial spirit. Everywhere you go in India, there's an entrepreneur. There's someone driving the tuk-tuk. There's someone making samosas. There's someone recycling plastic bottles. Something is always going on. And I think that is very, very inspiring. It's something that the rest of the world has to learn from, and that's also what creates India. It makes India such a hub for startups and for new companies to arise. And with the immense technological development that's also going on and fueling this further, it's on its way to become a country with great immense power, both economically and business-wise. And the innovation. Frugal innovation, low-cost innovation. We do so many things with minimal costs. Are you studying those, and do you feel like it has some value even for richer countries? Like Sweden, of course, is an advanced, capitalist, social democracy and a rich country. So, do you think there's something they could learn from Indian entrepreneurs, like you said? If so, what? I mean, when you have plenty of resources, maybe you don't struggle and strive so much, right? Here, every day is a struggle, and therefore you see some brilliant things happening. Yeah, exactly. No, but I think that in more developed parts of the world and in Sweden and Europe overall, we tend to attack issues with a maybe too complex view of things. We make things too complex. We make it too difficult, and it's also bound up in too much bureaucracy a lot of the time. But here in India, things actually happen, and just like you said, you're doing things in a maybe more simplistic way on the surface, but it creates the same or better results, and that's of course what everybody's looking for. So I mean, of course, it's so much to learn from India, and yeah. Thank you so much. A friend from Sweden, viewers, is saying that the spirit of entrepreneurship is alive in India. What he's seeing here and what he's learning, and that makes a huge difference, because ultimately that will drive the rise of this country. And we have no doubt that if we clock 6, 7, 8 or 10% of economic growth for another decade or decade and a half, we will catch up with China and the United States and be counted as a great power. And that has always been the path of becoming a great power. So let me come to this great power status and what it means for the world, and what all these young foreign students are also witnessing. The rise of India is said to be one of the most, decisive and defining phenomena for the 21st century, for world order. A lot of you are doing courses in international relations and foreign policy also here. So I'd like some of you to come in and talk about this and what you're seeing about India's rise. And is it a positive development? Is it something that is valued in your country and also by you as an individual thinker of international relations? Why does it matter that we have a democracy that's rising and at a very, very rapid pace? And what do you think that's going to do to the world? We often say India is a force for good in the world, right? So what does it mean actually, and how can we democratize the world order with the rise of India, and in your estimate, how is that significant or salient for the world order? Yes, please.
Yes, namaste. So my name is Sebastian. I study at the Goethe University in Frankfurt, Germany. And so many of the scholars that I read, they are diagnosing a crisis of the liberal world order dominated by the United States. So in a more multipolar world, it is obvious, like for all the reasons that we were mentioning before, that India is crazy important, it's super important. And I think, there is also with Germany a lot of common ground on human rights issues, on democratic freedoms, the protection of human rights. I mean, democratic freedoms, democracy. And I think, for example, one thing that we learned about the G4, the effort, the initiative of reforming the Security Council.
Yes. India, Brazil, Japan, Germany.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is one of the issues where we work together. And I feel like this is the partnership of a more multipolar world where they strive for more democracy. And I feel like this is a crucial point where not only Germany, but also India decide where this world will lead. And I think, by reforming international institutions, by fighting for democratic values and those initiatives, I think those are like the big factors where you can see that India is rising, and they play a big partnership with European states that do the same, or like the G4 members. Exactly.
Thank you. So reforming the international institutions, our friend from Germany says, is a big task, and there is even commonality of interest between global south and north, because we have Japan and Germany that are also part of the G4. Surely the idea is that we can make the world order just and fairer, and that can only happen if more power centers rise, right? So the multipolar order that he's talking about is something, it's unthinkable without India's rise, right? I mean, there are power centers, like we have Brazil in Latin America, we have Indonesia, we have, there are quite a few other what we call emerging or rising powers, but nothing on the scale of India, right? So it has the potential to be a great power, and that will significantly transform the world. Any other thoughts from the international relations students about India's rise? Yes, please.
Yeah. Hello, I'm a friend from Russia, so from Moscow, from High School of Economics. And being here is already a part of international exchange and international relations. So you mentioned that our countries have unique and strong connections. And 2 weeks before coming here, there was an Indian festival in Moscow. It was near the Red Square. It's really symbolic. So. And also about our relations. So some weeks ago, we signed a new trade agreement with India, despite of tariffs. That also is a symbol and figure out. So, and I think that this development of India brings a strong voice, not in unipolar, even bipolar, but even in multipolar world. So, and it's really significant. Maybe one thing that I can also mention is security connection with Russia. So, and it is the part, it is the time of Russia when it turns into the East, not into the West-centric world, as somebody mentioned. So that's why I need to mention some achievements of our cooperation. It could be maybe some not community trade. I mean, some IT specialists are in Russia. So some students also are in Russia. So despite of trade agreement with oil and so on and so forth. So that's why I think that our countries might to strengthen our cooperations, maybe from such tools as SEO or BRICS. So
thank you. With Russia, we are also part of BRICS and SCO, and our friend from Russia is also talking about non-commodity based exchanges, because it should not be limited only to oil and such things, but should expand into technology and more advanced fields. We both need each other. Any other thoughts about India's rise and how it's changing the world?
Hi, my name is Kate. I'm from Russia as well. And about India, first thing, we are all Russians. The first thing that comes in our minds in Russia about India, it's our good friend. And I really was amazed when all Indian, even drivers, taxi drivers and students, they say the same thing, that Russia is our good friend. And in order to explain like multipolar world and all connection that Russia and India have nowadays, I think that's really cool cooperation, because everybody speaks about reformation of Security Council, about multipolar world, and of course the rise of India is absolutely impossible to ignore, because the amount of your population is 1.5 billion of people, and it's absolutely impossible to ignore the voice of these people. And when everybody speaks about Security Council, I think that is my favorite topic. And even on our classes with professor, we try to discuss. And I think that if India will be one of a permanent member in Security Council, the world change really, because the voice from Asia continent, and India is kind of one of the best mediator between East and West. And for example, my colleague from Germany said that India has good relationship with Germany, with other European countries. And I think it's a kind of really like a sign, because India have good relationship with Russia, with Eastern countries, with Western countries. And it's kind of sign of bridge between East and West world. Yes.
Thank you so much. That's so articulately put by our friend from Russia. India is a bridge between North and South and East and West, and that positions it in a very unique way. And that is also gives it greater value. It's not just the economic growth or the rise of its geopolitical footprint or building up its military. It's also about the foreign policy positioning. And that's where our friends seem to agree. And it's so interesting. We have here students from Western Europe, but also from Russia. And there is a lot of geopolitical tension at present over Ukraine and the security of Europe between these sides. But here, in a neutral learning space like India, they're all coming together and are all friends and are actually all talking about the importance of India as a bridge builder. So literally, through international education, viewers, you can see how India is the home for all these people to meet, come together, and to think about how all of them benefit from India's rise. Any other thoughts on India's rise and how it can be a force for good, or anything else anyone would like to add about India's rise?
So, Liliu from France again. Actually, listening to my colleagues, I did not think we would find such a common ground, but I think we can all say that India is really playing a role in getting and securing a peacekeeper spot. And I think it's really one future India can seek for, because it's so interesting the way it bridges a gap between the Western countries and the Eastern countries. I thought my colleague from Germany and I were going to mention the security part and the defense part, which I'm very interested into. But actually, I'm super pleasantly surprised to see that you guys are mentioning it as well. And it's true that India is finding such an interesting spot that we need to look after and to analyze very with attention, because it's so interesting the way it's actually starting to play such a huge role. And it's true that there's a liberal crisis order and a new world order getting playing in the world right now. And every country's position is being redefined at the time we are speaking. So we need to keep in mind that India is a very, very interesting country.
Thank you. Yeah, so the unique positioning, again, our friend from France is saying that the unique positioning matters, and it's also a question of how the world perceives India as to where it stands on different positions. And our independence and our strategic autonomy is showing, because once you have that, it raises your stature. And what these students are essentially saying is, because we take an independent line on so many things, we create a lot of interest. The whole world is interested in knowing what does India have to say on this issue or that issue, right? And that's where it's so important to show independence in foreign policy. Okay, we've spoken a lot about issues, but I want to go towards the end of the show to what all you are going to do after returning to your home countries and after experiencing India. Okay, what will you tell your folks back home about this country, and what is your message to them?
Hello, my name is Cieniek. I'm from Czech Republic, Masaryk University. And what was the biggest concern of people around me, because I study law, what I will learn in India. And I was genuinely really surprised how good the system or learning the law here is. Because even though we are talking a lot about the Indian law, it's never thinking only inside of the box, but we are always talking also about foreign countries and how it works there. So I think I'll learn a lot, not only about India, but about the whole globalizing world, because usually at home we mostly focus just on Europe, but here it gave me the opportunity to learn more about the world itself.
Thank you so much. So India is broadening the horizons of young minds, our friends are saying, and we are so glad to hear that, because this is the land of learning and is the land of ancient wisdom. And if the horizons are not broadened here, then where, right? So it's a very important point. Any other takeaways from your India experience?
Hi, my name is Camille, and I'm French, and I'm a full student. And after my 3 years in India, I will go back in France, and I hope this experience will make me special. So.
Why? I mean, how does it make you special? Because of the India experience, will it give you more respect and standing for your career?
I would like to work in international business. So that's not common in France to study in Asia. I have a bachelor in Asia. So it will make a difference, I think, I hope.
Well, all the best for your career, and I'm glad to see that you chose India for a full-time degree, and that's great. Any other last takeaways about India? Yes, please.
Yeah, I think what I will remember from India is that there is a way to put way more spirit and soul in all the sayings and speeches. That's what I noticed when I first came here. That the way they look at things, even at geopolitics or international relations, or even the way they would, for example, graduate the students, they would tell them that, for example, they wish they always use their diplomas for the common goods of people. And I think this is very inspiring, especially in Western countries, as like business, big business is going on, and we forget to think about what is behind. So I find it very, very inspiring, and also the way people are way more authentic in the way they do things. Like very complicated things can be done very differently, and if you just take it easy, there is like very different ways of looking at things, and having like other type of organizations about like very deep concerns, or like very like things that seem very, very hard to handle, you know. So.
Wow, that's a very profound observation from one of our friends here. And viewers, what she's saying is there is a spirit and a soul with the way even Indians talk, and they make a point. And I think it never struck me, you know, it has to be someone from outside to see that, because we just assume that that's how we are. So yeah, so there's a deeper meaning, you are saying, to the Indian way of knowing and saying and doing things, and that's something we would like to feel proud of. And that links back to the point about the civilizational state. Maybe we have it in our DNA, and I'm so glad that you all see that value while being here. So viewers, this has been a very wide-ranging engagement with these 22 young people from 10 countries who are studying in India. And there is a Study in India project of the Indian government to try and attract and bring more foreign students to come, not just for short-term study, but for full-time degree programs. Right now, the exchange is quite unequal. India is more of a sender of students abroad. As of 2024, 1.33 million Indians were studying abroad. But at the same time, hardly 70,000 foreign students were studying in India. So it's been a one-way traffic for a long time, but there is a massive effort both at the government and also through premier private universities to try and attract and bring more international students to have the India experience. And this show, if at all you needed convincing about wanting to come and study in India, this show should have overcome all hesitation in your mind. So if you are an international student and curious and have this affinity for India and for Asia, do not hesitate at all, and think about applying to one of our institutions and coming and studying here. I want to thank all of you for going far deeper than, to be honest, I had not expected that students of your age are thinking very deep. And I do believe that the India experience is also deepening your thinking. So thank you all for being here, for being unofficial youth ambassadors of India in your home countries when you go back. And I wish you the very best for your studies here. And let's make this a lifelong connection. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line, we hope you're coming back to India. We hope you're investing in India. And we hope, the friendships and, the relationships you built while you're here will last for a lifetime. Thank you so much for being here, and all the very best for the rest of your time in India.
Thank you.